centered. Alright, hi guys, welcome to Do What You Love. I'm Dani of Daisy LA.
And I'm Rachel from Process Progress. What is Daisy?
Yeah, we thought we'd give a little background on why we are maybe qualified to be making videos. We're probably not, but I own a graphic tee company and I'm a longtime t-shirt designer and I do a lot of freelance design as well.
Yeah.
And what is Process Progress?
So Process Progress is an intuitive branding and design studio for creative, spiritual entrepreneurs who are doing their thing, starting their own businesses, offering services to other people.
Creative coaching.
Brand advising. Yes.
She's a smart lady. I'm a little nervous. No, I'm fine. Okay, so today, we're doing a 3-part series.
Yes.
How to design your dream job, how to build your dream job, and how to share your dream job.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how to design your dream job. Our first topic is how do you go about designing your dream job? I mean, that's the whole topic. We kind of set it up in a checklist format. So your first step would be, all right, make a list about what matters to you, starting with what you're passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
What are you passionate about?
I'm passionate about, one of the first things that occurred to me when I was creating my checklist was I want to help people. I'm very passionate about being in service to other people, and I knew that was going to be kind of one of the cornerstones of my business that I was creating, was to be of service. And then I'm also very passionate about creativity and inspiration and helping people do things in a way that feels good to them and feels fun. So I knew that was also going to be important things that I wanted to have in my checklist when I was designing my dream job. And what about you?
So for Daisy LA, it's kind of a combination of all my passions, which is crazy. I've always thought I had my dream job when I was working at other jobs, oh, this is my dream job. Then when I finally started my own business, I realized this is not my dream job because I wasn't doing all the things I do now.
Right.
You know, I feel like I'm not compromising anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So
Definitely.
even how I figured out about t-shirt design, I've always loved art. I've always been a drawer. I know that's not the right word. I've always been a drawer, and I loved fashion. So I went to school for fashion design, and there I figured out, wait, you can do both. You can do art that goes on clothing.
Totally.
So that's how I got into doing apparel graphics. And then I picked up photography. I loved blogging. I used to blog a lot when I was in college, lookbook.nu days, pre-Instagram. But I loved it.
Was it lookbook.new?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
But it was awesome. And then at every job I had, I was not able, I wasn't able to do photography. I was just doing design or, blogging in my spare time. But Daisy is a combination of, I love graphic design, art, fashion, photography, social media, blogging, and that's literally what I do. That's all, those are the things on my checklist.
You found a way to combine all of your passions and skills into one sort of entity. And that's similar to what I did for Process Progress as well, because of my background as a graphic designer, I'm strong in design, I'm strong in branding, but then I also have a very strong interest in the spiritual path. So I started on the spiritual journey, and I met other people who were maybe astrologers or tarot card readers or people that were doing these kind of spiritual businesses, and then but they were also needing help in the design and branding area. So I kind of combined my love for kind of spiritual path and the spiritual journey and combined it with my knowledge of branding.
And that's a very specific niche.
Yeah.
I feel like finding a niche that's made for you.
Totally.
Designing t-shirts, it feels like it was made for me. You're designing, you love design and you're doing it for something you're passionate about. So
Exactly.
That was huge when planning your business. What are your passions?
Yes, what
That
are your
is number
passions?
one.
What's important to you? what do you stand, like what are your values, what are your beliefs? Like these are the things that you're going to need to be really clear in so that people can understand who you are, what you're doing, and why.
Mm-hmm.
That's like everything that you need that before you do anything.
And then, okay, so we have our little checklist. Another thing to take into account is, what are you good at?
Mm-hmm.
Being passionate is awesome, but you know, you need to hone in your skills and expertise, and that comes into play. Like for example, I picked up photography not long before I started Daisy, and I had to practice a lot. I basically taught myself. Bloggers let me shoot them. So that was a skill I thought I needed before I was going to start a company, because I couldn't be hiring photographers all the time. You needed constant content. So that was a skill I had to develop.
Mm-hmm. And how did you develop? Just by
Constantly
practicing?
doing. I mean, okay, before I started Daisy, when I was working with Revice, the denim company, I knew in the back of my head I wanted to start a company.
Yeah.
And I knew, okay, I wouldn't have the budget to hire photographers all the time. So I specifically was like, hey, I want to start doing the photography for the brand. So I guess that before I even started Daisy, I used the place I was working to learn how to do photography to help my future self.
And it kind of came out of like a necessity, right? You're like, I know I'm going to need to have this as part of my business, so how am I going to get there?
Kind of in the back of my head when I pitched it to my boss at the time. Like, we needed photography, but I was like, okay, this is a skill I'm developing that can benefit me in the future. And I had a friend who's an amazing photographer, Stuck with Pins, Corinne. She's like one of my best friends, incredible. And I just bought a camera off of her, and I had the company I was paying or working for pay her like a couple $100 to teach me photography for like an hour. So we looked at all the settings, we got a girl, and I just practiced with her, and she taught me the basics, and then I just kind of went from there. So I got a foundation by somebody teaching me, but mostly like you learn by just doing it. So you have to get up those skills.
I think it's important to know what you can handle on your skill set for what you can do for your business, and then what you know you're going to need to ask for help for.
And that's huge.
Because, exactly. Like, sometimes we feel like, oh, I have to do it all myself, but there's so many ways that you can, like, outsource and delegate, ask for help. And, you know, if you know you're going to need a skill for your business, but that's maybe not your expertise, you have to find out where you're going to get it from.
And knowing what you're not good at is almost more important than knowing what you're good at. Because you know, okay, I'm not going to bother with this. I'm going to outsource it. I'm going to ask for help. I'm going to collaborate with somebody else who's good at this. Trade them something I'm good at. So know what you're good at, know what you're not good at. Those are key to like carving out your dream job for sure. Like for me, I'm good at the creative stuff. Production, finance, things like that, I asked for help. And luckily, I was able to meet a guy who wanted to back my line production-wise, and he handles now all the shipping, all the things I didn't like. So that was like a collaborative partnership, and it's mutually beneficial for both of us.
Yeah.
So know what you're not good at, and find a way to not do it. And also part of your dream job, or if it's really your dream job, you're not doing the things that you hate, you know?
Right.
I mean, you have to probably to a certain degree.
I think when you're in the process of figuring out your dream job, maybe you're doing things that you hate, which is another thing. Like, when you're thinking about designing your dream job, I mean, for me, like, I was still figuring out what I wanted to do, so I jumped at every, like, opportunity for experience I could have, even if it was something that I wasn't sure if I really wanted to do it or not.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, volunteering or, like, taking little jobs, like, I was just like, give me everything. Give me everything and everything so I can see if I am going to like this or not. And once you kind of are bagging those experiences, you know, you have those experiences in the bag, those can help you decide when you're making your checklist, like, okay, I had this job, I really liked doing that. I didn't so much like this part about it. So, you know, not only your skills are you kind of like assessing, but you're also taking into account all of the different experiences and jobs that you've had up until that.
Yeah,
until
totally.
This point.
I mean, I can think back on all the different jobs I've had, and there's aspects I liked about everything and aspects I didn't like. And when I was kind of like designing my dream job doing Daisy, I considered what was important to me, what I wanted to keep doing, what I didn't want to do. For me, wholesale is like kind of a foreign language, so I knew direct to consumer is like an easier market for me. I know social media. I don't want to deal with paperwork and stuff, which at the beginning you have to.
Right.
Like I was shipping, I was figuring out the production, all that stuff. But as you develop, you know, you can outsource things.
I think, yeah, like, I mean, I'm still like my own bookkeeper and all of that stuff for now.
Yeah,
but
well,
that's stuff I know I want to outsource in the future. But an example for process progress was I knew that I didn't just want to be like a logo factory. I did not want to like
a logo.
Like I need a logo, like cha-ching, and then like there's a logo. Like it's I did not just want to be like someone telling me like, okay, I need a logo, and then I do the logo and then it's done. Like I knew that it was very important to me that me and my clients are going through a process of creating together, and I can't work with clients who are not going to be committed to that process of creating a brand, creating a logo. So that was like one of the things that was important for me. Like I know that I'm not going to be a logo factory.
That's awesome. That's funny. Okay, when I do freelance designs, I love my clients. I want to give them everything they want. But I like to remove myself emotionally as much as I can from the process, and I like to just give them a design.
Yeah.
You know, I have them tell me exactly what they want. Like I try to make that process as like,
I think so.
I'm very detached to freelance design.
Me too. With my like freelance like clients that aren't the clients that are in my business. Like if you're a client of Process Progress to go through my intuitive like branding program, then you get that treatment because you're paying for it. But if you're just like, like my regular freelance graphic design clients, I agree with you. There's some level of detachment that I like to maintain so that the process is a little bit more smooth.
But it's good to know. It's weird working for yourself. Like you kind of get to pick and choose how it goes.
Right. How
your whole process is. Like with freelance clients, I've kind of had to make a whole system how I go about things to make it work for me. I'm like, no, you tell me exactly what you want. I'm not trying to get creative. I'm trying to give you what you want.
Right.
So I don't know. There's different ways. Like with Daisy, it's all like a bunch of emotions. Like to me, I'm so attached to it.
Right.
So.
And but those are like the beauty about you being able to do that is that you have the freedom to have clients that are more strict, and you have the freedom to create Daisy how you want it to create, and that's all a part of designing your dream job.
Yeah.
You know? But I think there are things that you experience that are not so dreamy in order for you to know what is dreamy.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, what are some non-negotiables that you had when you were starting your business?
I think for me, having experience working in a corporate setting and like being a creative person in a corporate setting is not really work. Because creativity to me, it comes when it comes, and then it goes, and then it comes back. It's not like you can just force yourself to be creative for 8 hours a day, like sitting at a desk. For me, at least.
I learned to do that. It's funny now that I work for myself. I'd like it to be a little more like driven by like when creativity comes. But when you're sitting at a desk 8 hours, designs are like being in like you're like a factory.
Yeah,
it's like you're in an assembly line just creating graphics, spitting them out.
Yeah. And I like to have the ability to work on multiple, like I like having different clients to work on at the same time rather than just one thing. And I honestly, like for me, like a non-negotiable is I have to be able to like stop and get up, go outside, like take some breaths, you know, like, and I felt like I couldn't do that at a corporate job.
Mm-hmm.
It just, the environment, people do not favor that kind of behavior. They're like, sit at your desk, do your work, clock in, clock out. Like it's like a machine, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And not saying that running your own business doesn't have to have some sort
So you
of
have the freedom
structure
to structure it the way that works for you,
Exactly.
which is awesome.
And it's important to remember, like, your non-negotiables are everything that you, like, this is your dream job, so you get to create it. Like, even the, like, silly things that
Mm-hmm.
you think don't matter to anyone else.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay, when I go do a design, I like to work out of coffee shops. I like to be in an environment where there's other people around me, where it's very open. Like, I'll be as specific as, like, okay, I need to be in that chair because that one's a little more cushy, or I like the view. Like, working for yourself is, you have the freedom to choose what exactly works for you. When I was working corporate, I was just sitting at a desk that was very uninspiring, you know, bad lighting. Like, I've even worked in places where it's like I'm basically working out of a closet. And you just have to, like, output work.
Yeah.
But working for yourself, I choose when, where I want to work. And it helps my creative process so much. You know, that's, like, what makes it my dream job.
yeah.
Even, like, now, we just recently signed on with a little WeWork space, which is a co-working space. A bunch of other entrepreneurs kind of all share the same office space, which is cool. It, like, has the perks of corporate world.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I like being downtown. I like having a space that I can leave my computer and stuff instead of be this, like, transient person.
Yeah.
But I still like to be around other people, you know? Like, my dream job is not working out of my house. For some people it is. Some people want to roll out of bed, have their jammies on, and work all day, but that's not part of my dream job.
That's me some days. I'm a combination. I
Yeah.
think some days I like to be alone and just, like, stay in my bed in pajamas and just, like, work, not work, you know? But then other days I want to, like, get up, get dressed, go to the office, work.
Go to office.
Go to office. Yeah, so I'm a combination. But those are all things that you can put in your checklist.
Yes.
And it's yours. Like,
Your
it's
checklist.
not anyone else's. So.
Wait, honestly, it's so weird to get used to. Coming from a place where everything was decided for you.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of working for yourself. You make your checklist, fill it with your passions,
skills,
list,
experience.
your experience, non-negotiables, things you want, even the silly things. It's all up to you. So make a checklist.
And tell us what's on your checklist. I really am curious.
Yeah, send us things. We're just experimenting here.
Send us
We're like the blind leading
your
the blind.
non-negotiables.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Bye.